Dickie's a junk bag.
Hey.
He's a junk bag.
Why am I the problem? I'm his blood. I'm his family.
I'm the one fighting, okay? Not you, and not you. I know what I need.
And you need Dickie?
I want Dickie back. And I want you, Charlene. And I want O'Keefe. I want my family. What's wrong with that?
I can't think of a more crowd-pleasing, more inspirational movie to come out this year than The Fighter. It's partly a story of an up-and-coming athlete trying to get his big break, which of course is a very familiar tale, but it takes a hard look at drug addiction and a very raw look at a dysfunctional family. Mark Wahlberg is great playing the lead character, Mickey. This is Wahlberg's most reserved and complex role to date. Mickey has an unbreakable devotion to his family, which both strengthens and cripples him. He never really speaks for himself, and would rather suffer than upset those around him. Through the course of the movie, the character really grows, thanks to the help of a good woman by his side. Christian Bale is phenomenal in his scene-stealing role as Mickey's drug-addicted brother, Dickie. This is such a great character that Bale really brings a lot of depth to. Dickie's easily angered, often detached, and oblivious to how his affliction is affecting his life, but the thing is, you can completely understand why Mickey would stand by him for so long. Underneath it all, he really is a great guy, full of energy and affection, somebody you'd really want in your corner. This is sure to go down as one of Bale's most remembered roles. Behind every great man is a great woman, and Amy Adams delivers a fantastic performance as Mickey's girlfriend, who really helps him develop some backbone and at the same time is able to find some clarity in her own misguided life. She's great in her role, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't thoroughly enjoy the eye candy she brings to the movie. The movie is based on a true story, but I'm sure it's been tailored to fit Hollywood needs. Events have likely been rearranged, certain moments have been fabricated or altered, but it doesn't attempt to portray the family shown here in a completely positive light. Nobody is a saint here, and everyone has their faults. When it finally arrives at its conclusion, it is relieving, satisfying, and yes, it is hugely, hugely inspiring.
You don't think I deserve your attention?
I think if your clients want to sit on my shoulders and call themselves tall, they have a right to give it a try, but there's no requirement that I enjoy sitting here listening to people lie. You have part of my attention. You have the minimum amount. The rest of my attention is back at the offices of Facebook, where my colleagues and I are doing things that no one in this room, including and especially your clients, are intellectually or creatively capable of doing. Did I adequately answer your condescending question?
I'll admit that, like many other people, I was skeptical that a movie about the founding of Facebook could be any good. The last thing I wanted to do was spend 2 hours reveling in the genius of the website's conception. To be fair, there are many scenes in the beginning where Mark Zuckerberg is slowly but surely developing his ideas, but it's absolutely necessary to set up the foundation of the plot, and more importantly, it doesn't portray Zuckerberg as some great innovative genius, and very much allows us to judge him harshly. This is a positively engrossing movie of greed, betrayal, social status, and while I wouldn't say that this one movie is the defining movie of our entire generation, it's undoubtedly one of them, and it causes us to reflect on what strange times we really do live in, where a kid in his early 20s can become a billionaire. The acting as a whole is astounding. Jesse Eisenberg is sure to receive an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor for his portrayal of Zuckerberg, and Andrew Garfield, in what is perhaps the standout performance of the movie and a definite breakthrough in his career, is incredible. And Justin Timberlake gives one of the most surprising performances of the year. He really makes the movie what it is. And without the energy he brings to his role, it's possible that the movie just wouldn't have worked as well. David Fincher is a consistently adventurous filmmaker, and this is yet another great effort from him. As well as the acting, as well as the screenplay, this is just a great-looking movie. Everything about it comes together just about perfectly, making this a wonderful, memorable, contemporary film. Taking a look at where technology can take us and the cautions along the way. The Social Network is as entertaining as it is genuinely interesting, and dare I say, it's an important movie. You don't want to miss this one.
It's weird aging, right? It's like, what the fuck is going on?
I know. Youth is wasted on the young.
I'd go further. I'd go, life is wasted on people.
there's a movie that's really snuck up on me, and I found my love for it constantly growing. It's Greenberg. Ben Stiller gives a wonderfully understated performance as Roger Greenberg, a man whose best days are behind him and takes a certain pride in his cynicism and is perfectly content on doing nothing with his life. Though to say this character is even capable of feeling pride or contentment in the first place is debatable. Greta Gerwig shines starring opposite Stiller in the role of his would-be girlfriend, a younger woman also unsure where her life is going. Both Stiller and Gerwig give Oscar-worthy performances in my opinion. It's certain to have gone under many filmgoers' radars and is even more certain not to convert those who wouldn't exactly call themselves Ben Stiller fans, but the movie, much like the main character, simply exists and reveals itself with no surefire direction or motives behind the events unfolding, hoping that maybe somebody can figure out what to make of it. Maybe not exactly a compliment for any other film, but when it comes to Greenberg, I say it with the utmost affection. And it isn't to say that the movie is pointless or anything, far from it. Greenberg does find his focus in his life through his little journey, and there is a lot to take from the subtle bond he builds with the dog he's taking care of, and when it boils down to the end of it all, I do think that Greenberg starts to realize what he wants out of his life. It's just that it's not done in the typical cutesy Hollywood way or anything, and not everything is tied together with a pretty bow. In a year full of huge blockbusters, wrenching dramas, and innovative complex storylines, Greenberg gives us some room to breathe and lets us draw our own conclusions. I actually found it to be a lot more moving than it even really tries to be, and it's truly something special.
Okay, well, maybe... Do you want to hang out sometime? Get to know each other? You're the new kid on the block, right? I've lived here forever, so there are reasons for you to hang out with me.
You want me to hang out with you?
Yeah, if that's cool.
Seeing the world through the eyes of a pop culture addict 20-something-year-old, it's Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. You really gotta hand it to Edgar Wright's adaptation of the cult graphic novel series. The movie runs just under 2 hours in length, and I don't think it contains a single dull moment. Led by an energetic cast of talented young actors, the film has great moments of humor, some really great action scenes, and a rocking soundtrack too. It also has a nice sweet side to it that's never really played out too forcefully. I had some reservations going into it. I thought it might end up playing out like a carefree adolescent wet dream where the bad guys lose and the good guy gets the girl, but it's so much better than that. As well as confronting Ramona's 7 evil exes, Scott Pilgrim has to confront his own flaws as a person, learning some self-worth while he's at it. The Ramona character isn't the manic pixie dream girl type. She does have her own baggage, and ultimately this movie plays out as a huge exaggeration of the trials and tribulations we face when entering relationships. Michael Cera plays Scott Pilgrim perfectly. He's an actor well known for being typecast as the nerdy but kinda cool guy, but here he uses all of those traits to the very best of his ability, and this is quite possibly the best performance of his entire career. It's hugely entertaining and stylish. It plays out like a giant comic book and video game come to life, and while I hardly think it's one of the greatest love stories ever put on film, I think that would be missing the point. When you're 22 and smitten, every romantic endeavor feels like an epic of epic epicness.
What is the most resilient parasite? A bacteria? A virus? An intestinal worm?
What Mr. Cobb is trying to say.
An idea. Resilient, highly contagious. Once an idea has taken hold in the brain, it's almost impossible to eradicate. An idea that is fully formed, fully understood, that sticks. Right in there somewhere.
Yes, Inception. Is this film overpraised? I'm sure it will be topping many best of 2010 lists, but for good reason. It really does deserve the recognition it gets. It's triumphant in just about every way possible. It lived up as a follow-up to Christopher Nolan's fantastic previous film, The Dark Knight. It more than met the expectations raised by all the hype and mystery initially surrounding it before its release. It works as an original, intriguing science fiction film, and it works as the big-budget blockbuster action movie with the A-list cast. It's endlessly impressive. Normally, when you think of the phrase science fiction, you'll think of spaceships, or aliens, or alternate universes, and things like that. But Christopher Nolan's Inception takes a look into dreams and the subconscious, which is limitless in its possibilities. It's an extremely, extremely ambitious film, and it follows through with its concept amazingly. Movies like this run the risk of falling under their weight, of their own plot, or giving up on its ideas to make room for more action, but Inception follows through admirably and doesn't disappoint with what it has to offer. The cast is just terrific, featuring some of the best actors and actresses working today, and even though they're not allowed to deliver dramatic, emotional monologues or anything like that, they pull off incredible performances. The roles, in some way, are very unrewarding, but they're able to guide us through this world that Christopher Nolan has created in a way that is incredibly convincing. The idea for the movie must have seemed at least a little bit silly on paper, and the great performances by Leonardo DiCaprio, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Ellen Page, Tom Hardy, Ken Watanabe, Cillian Murphy, Tom Berenger, and Marion Cotillard give it a very incredible credibility that makes the movie so great. And it's not just all brains and brawn. Some may argue that there's no emotional core to the movie, and I'd have to strongly disagree. The lead character, Cobb, is a truly tragic modern character, and when I think back on all the scenes that really stick with me from the movie, I recall that moment with Cobb standing out on the ledge of the hotel room, pleading with his wife not to jump, which really is a heartbreaking scene. But hey, the action is really damn good too, don't get me wrong. Visual effects are used sparingly and effectively, and it's good to know that I'm not too jaded of a filmgoer to ever stop asking, how did they do that? So yes, Inception is the best movie of the year, by leaps and bounds. Every time you see a soulless, brainless Hollywood movie full of lousy CGI and terrible writing, just remember a movie like Inception is possible, which is very encouraging. Inception is an example of how movies can still spark our sense of wonder, can still stimulate our minds, and still move us. It's really a movie to treasure, and it's certain to go down as a classic. So, just to recap, at number 10, I have Toy Story 3, number 9, MacGruber, number 8, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, number 7, Black Swan, number 6, The Kids Are All Right, 5, The Fighter, 4, The Social Network, 3, Greenberg, 2, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and at number 1, Inception. So, that's it. Thank you for watching. If you made it to the end, congratulations. Have a safe and happy 2011, and I'll see you soon. Bye.